This is Barnstable Today for Monday, January 12th. Welcome aboard. I'm Mark Mumford, and keep in mind, the meetings we cover are available for your viewing on demand at the town's website, town.barnstable.ma.us.
The so-called Kmart lease is our main focus today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Friel.
Questions have been circulating about the long-term deal for the valuable piece of Hyannis property that is home to Kmart and the other stores of Cape Town Plaza.
At the request of the town manager, Bruce Gilmore, who has been the Airport Commission's attorney since 1979, came to the town council meeting to explain the scenario.
And I do mean briefly, the Kmart Plaza, so-called Cape Town Plaza, I think is its proper name, has been under the jurisdiction and control, at least as a landmass, since before the Second World War. And during the Second World War, you can appreciate that the Department of Defense took the airport, and it became a training facility that former President Bush apparently learned how to fly. At the end of the Second World War, when the crisis had passed, the United States government retransferred the property back to the jurisdiction and control of the Barnstable Airport Commission, with the caveat that it continued to be used for, quote, airport purposes. As this council is very much aware, the airport properties or holdings can be divided into two separate categories: that which is within the fence, and certain properties that have been acquired or pre-existed outside the secure area. And those properties include Mildred's, for example, the former motel on Route 132, the Sullivan property, and it also includes the Cape Town Plaza. In 1968, at a time that some of us have vague memories of, and shortly before that, and I'm seeing Mr. Toby laugh, he might remember Storyland. And people are smiling because Storyland is the site of the current Cape Cod Mall. But in 1968, there were visionaries and there were people that weren't visionaries, and certain people believed that the 132 corridor would become a very valuable piece of property, and it did. But in 1968, the people that envisioned the development of commercial properties convinced, I've often joked with the late Dick Anderson that he did better for his clients on that lease than the Brinks people did, and they had guns. In any event, in 1968, specifically the May town meeting, a 56-year lease was approved by the Airport Commission and the town meeting. And because the length of the lease exceeded 7 years, it was recorded at the Registry of Deeds. And the term of the lease, at least as it relates to our consideration this evening, the first term was 40 years, and that 40 years expired on May 31st of 2008. The lease contained two extensions, one for 10 years and one for 6 years. The lease provided that if the lessee notifies the Town of Barnstable Airport Commission more than 1 year from the expiration date, the lease will be extended. And it was, in fact, extended, and we're now in term 2. The current rental revenue from the lease is $60,000 per year. Nothing more, nothing less. In years 45 to 49, the lease will increase by $5,000.
Gilmore reports that there has been plenty of interest from those who would like to buy the property, but that is not a process that could be entered into easily.
Current lessee has a $10 million mortgage on the property. And I was approached not by one, but over the last couple of years by at least what we might describe as 3 suitors, people who would like to own that property. The current tenant called and asked for an extension beyond 2024. And in the alternative, could they purchase it? And the short answer to that question was no. And the reason for the short answer was because under Chapter 30B, Section 16, at the expiration of the lease, it has to go through a very transparent and public bidding process. If it is to be sold, it has to be sold to the highest bidder, and if it's to be leased, it has to be leased to the most favorable of the various people who submit proposals. So I asked the current tenant, are you willing to surrender the lease today and throw your hat in the ring with everybody else who might want to purchase the property? And his response, quite predictably, are you nuts? So when other people have called, I get the same argument, but this would be so much more beneficial to the town. Well, the short answer, it might be. But it would also be illegal because we have a current lease that we are committed to. And until such time as the lease expires or the tenant defaults, we're obligated to honor that lease. So any suggestion that this council or this town manager or this special town council can do anything other than honor the lease is just wrong.
Gilmore also went on to point out that revenues generated by airport properties, such as the Cape Town Plaza, play a major role in the airport's economic health.
Is that the airport has been self-sufficient for many, many years. And one of the reasons that it is not a burden on the taxpayers is because it has revenues from its various rental agreements and its operational agreements. And we receive from the federal government on an annual basis any number of grants. You're certainly aware of the grants that would assist us with road improvements in the terminal. But we get many other grants, whether it's for instant landing systems or runway extensions or aviation easements or whatever. I've probably in the last 25 years signed 50 or 60 grant assurances, putting my name on the line saying that the town of Barnstable is complying with the various FAA regulations and grant assurances, one of which is that all revenue generated on the airport, save for things that are properly billed by the town to the airport.
Also announced at the town council meeting and the town manager's report was the influx of $1,000 to fund a visit to Hyannis by an expert on homelessness issues from Asheville, North Carolina.
Received a $1,000 grant from the task force working on the homeless issue. We just were notified that they received a $1,000 grant for the Cape Cod Community Foundation to pay for a visit of a homeless expert from North Carolina, someone who's gotten national accolades for dealing with some of the same problems that we're dealing with in Hyannis, to have them come to Hyannis in the near future. I don't know if there's a date set yet. It's not yet. But I want to thank the Cape Cod Community Foundation for funding that position.
Remember, the entire town council session, as well as just about all the meetings here in town, are available on demand at the town's website, town.barnstable.ma.us.
And on the schedule this evening, it's the planning board at 7 in the town hall hearing room. And at 7:30, the Sandy Neck Board meets in the MEA conference room off Finney's Lane.
Tomorrow, a busy day in the hearing room, starting at 8:30 in the morning with the Conservation Commission. There's a mooring regulations hearing in the same location at 1 o'clock.
Then the Board of Health meets in the hearing room at 3:30, and at 5 o'clock, Coastal Resources meets in the School Administration Building.
The meeting schedule tomorrow wraps up with a school committee workshop in the hearing room at 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kevin Friel.
We'll meet you right back here tomorrow. I'm Mark Mumford.